7 p.m. Hello, good evening. Welcome to News 360. We're live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. I am Noble Crosby Allen.
And I am Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Let's bring you the headlines for this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasela Tuforsen says it will take 4 years for the 4 helicopters that are being procured for the Ghana Armed Forces to arrive in the country.
Finance Ministry targeting strategic fiscal policies to raise more revenue, protect the most vulnerable as well.
Also tonight, NIMO's task force launches bold dawn raid at notorious Yellowface illegal mining sites, sending suspected galamsey operators fleeing in the western region.
Much later in international news, Democratic Republic of Congo and M23 rebel group signed framework agreement for a peace deal. Welcome to the program. You can also join us on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana around the world. We're live also on 3news.com. Let's get into the details of the stories.
In the details this evening, Finance Minister Dr. Kasela Tuforsen says it will take 4 years for the 4 helicopters that are being procured for the Ghana Armed Forces to arrive in the country. Speaking on the key points, the Finance Minister said 1 or 2 may arrive before the 4-year period, but all 4 should be in within the next 4 years. There's more in the following report.
Presenting government's 2026 fiscal and economic policy statement to Parliament on Thursday, November 13, Finance Minister Dr. Kasela Tuforsen said government will work towards equipping the Ghana Armed Forces. This, he noted, is to ensure men and women of the military are well equipped to protect and defend the country's sovereignty. The investigative committee, which probed the August 6 military helicopter crash this week, recommended that government modernizes the fleet of the Ghana Air Force to improve flight safety and operational efficiency.
We have recommended that the Air Force acquire modern aircraft with terrain avoidance warning systems and modern navigation systems. That the aircraft should have cockpit voice recorders and flight data recorders, which are the audiovisual capable types. That the Air Force should invest in simulators for recurrent training. That they contract certified aviation weather provider or providers, and that Ghana as a nation should try to have en route navigational aids, especially in remote areas.
Speaking on the key point, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasela Tuforsen, revealed that it will take 4 years for the 4 helicopters that are being procured for the Ghana Armed Forces to arrive in the country.
We have begun the discussion with the helicopter manufacturing companies. And let me put this on record. We are not engaging any third party. It's the Ghana Armed Forces directly talking to the manufacturers and giving them their specifications. And I can assure you that the Ghana Armed Forces will get value for money. These helicopters may take up to 4 years.
4 years?
4 years.
To deliver?
To deliver.
So are you manufacturing it from scratch?
They have to.
You are not buying used ones?
No, it's not used ones. They are new helicopters fitted with modern gadgets. And they are buying it from scratch. And then it's our belief that it will take 4 years to get the entire full. Probably they may get 1 or 2 before 4 years, but the entire 4 will be ready in the next 4 years. And that is the decision of the ministry between the Ghana Armed Forces and those that are selling. In the coming days, we'll be going to Parliament to present those agreements to Parliament for discussion.
On the issue of the new presidential jet, the Finance Minister said President Mahama has not chartered a single flight since assuming office.
Is it necessary for us to charter at all? And thankfully, The current president has not done any chartering for himself. And then obviously he flies commercial when he has to, but he cannot continue to fly commercial.
John Mahama has never chartered a flight since he became president.
Have you seen him charter one? Have you seen him charter one?
No.
He's not chartered one. As long as I'm concerned, I've not seen him charter a plane for his use. No, he uses commercial flight. And there are instances that we've seen him even use Jata, his brother's plane, to support his travels.
The finance minister noted that although the Mahama administration is the one starting the process, by the time it arrives, President John Mahama would have finished serving his term and not even be the one to use it. Dr. Attoforsen added that the process has started and will be sent to Parliament for discussion.
But obviously there was the need for us to have an executive flight. The truth is, purchasing an executive flight doesn't mean the president will be the one to use it. It may take 4 years. You remember President Kufuor purchased flight, the current Falcon, was purchased by President Kufuor. But he never had opportunity to use it until he left office. Another president came and used it. But we are building a country. The fact that President Mahama may not be the one to use the plane for the state does not mean it should not be purchased. There will be a president in future. This country is a going concern. And so there's the need for us to have a flight worthy of the Republic of Ghana.
Ghana's existing French-built Dassault Falcon 900 EX Easy aircraft was acquired during President John Agyekum Kufuor's era in 2007, but was delivered for use in 2010 during the tenure of then-President Professor John Evans Atta Mills. The presidential jet has been grounded in France since March 11, 2025 due to serious corrosion problems. The Deputy Minister of Defence, Ernest Brojajemfi, briefing MPs in Parliament last Thursday, November 6, said the Falcon 900 executive aircraft would return after all necessary tests had been completed.
Well, the Finance Minister says the Ghana Revenue Authority will scale up tax collection to ensure that the shortfall that will come as a result of the COVID-19 levy is covered. He stated that there has been the introduction of fiscal electronic devices that will help collect taxes.
Currently, our VAT structure, in fact, the VAT has more or less collapsed.
VAT has collapsed?
More or less. The VAT gap is quite huge. A lot of people are collecting the VAT, but they're not paying the VAT. Some are not actually paying what is due the state. Obviously, because the rates became so high, and so the compliance rate also dropped. The reforms we are putting in place will revive the VAT. And in reviving the VAT, we expect that revenue will go up. And when revenue goes up, and we can see that everybody is paying its fair share, their fair share, now we can have a conversation around that. Then we can graciously reduce the VAT from where we are to levels that will be optimal to support both business and individuals. Ghana's VAT regime is the only VAT regime I have seen in the world that combines VAT and sales tax at the same time. You have different layers, some flat rate, some 3%, some 6%, some paying VAT rate. In some cases, some of them you can deduct input-output, some you cannot deduct input-output. I don't know how come we allow this to be distorted over a period of time. But hey, this is where we are. It needs to be reformed. We are reforming that. We did not only change the rates, but we also moved the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 Ghana cedis to about 750,000 Ghana cedis. What this means is that small-sized businesses will now be exempted from the collection of the VAT. In fact, the Ghana Revenue Authority will deregister you as the VAT registered person. And then after deregistering you, it will mean that you will not charge VAT. So today, if you are small, below 750,000, when Parliament passes the law, you will not be charging VAT any longer.
I see. So that's if your capital is 750,000.
No, if your annual turnover is less than 750,000, you will not be charging VAT.
You will not be paying VAT.
Yes. You will not charge VAT. And so the person buying from you will not be paying VAT.
The Finance Ministry also says that it is targeting strategic fiscal policies to raise more revenue, protect the most vulnerable in the country, and ensure prudent spending in the 2026 fiscal year. At the opening of a 3-day post-budget workshop for members of Parliament in Accra, the Deputy Minister assured the government will consolidate economic gains.
The post-budget workshop is a unique opportunity for MPs to engage on the technical details of the fiscal statement to inform a better scrutiny during the debate and approval of the appropriation. In the face of questions, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Ampem says the 2026 budget will safeguard long-term stability.
We are therefore pursuing a fiscal strategy that raises more revenue, spends better, and protects the most vulnerable while safeguarding long-term stability. Our proposed revenue strategy seeks to remove distortions, address the cascading effects inherent in the current VAT system, strengthen compliance, and create a tax regime that supports both business growth and fiscal stability. We will continue to rationalize spending by eliminating low-value programs and streamlining earmarked funds, freeing fiscal space for critical priorities like roads, energy, and education.
Beyond consolidating macroeconomic gains, the direction of the ministry is to also enhance overall security.
Government is proposing to also establish an independent value for money office. This office will serve as a permanent guardian of efficiency, accountability, and fiscal integrity. We appreciate the power of public spending in determining the pace and scope of economic growth. In response, we have proposed interventions which leverages the support of private partners and direct them into the real sector of the economy.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin urged members to explore the budget and help government break free from the constraint of external financial institutions like the IMF.
The 24-hour economy cannot thrive on infrastructure alone. It must be anchored on a renewed and revised legal framework and governance culture. I want to raise this publicly, that the pillars that can let us achieve this are not just only in the executive, but also in the legislature, the judiciary, and more importantly, the audit service.
For the minority, the numbers as presented in the budget do not mean there is absolute economic stability.
The economic difficulties our people face today, whether in the rising of costs of living, high unemployment, or limited access to credit, demand that we, as representatives of the people, engage the budget with clarity, compassion, and responsibility.
We, as parliamentarians, must therefore scrutinize the budget thoroughly, ensuring that allocations are equitable, realistic, and results-oriented.
At the end of the 3-day workshop, MPs would be better placed to debate on the sectoral issues and cross-check the various estimates for approval. Government 302.5 billion cedis 2026 budget is themed Resetting for Growth, Jobs and Economic Transformation. The budget the government hopes will consolidate macroeconomic stability while unlocking investment in agriculture, energy, infrastructure and social sectors targeted at creating sustainable jobs. Christian Yale, TV3 News.
To some other stories tonight, the military high command led by the Deputy Minister for Defense and accompanied by officials from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, they have visited all 6 bereaved families affected by Wednesday morning's tragic military recruitment stampede. Beyond announcing automatic enlistment for all surviving victims and the opportunity for a relative to replace each of the deceased, the government has also committed to providing psychological support for those traumatized by the incident. Joseph Armstrong-God Alogbe followed the delegation and he filed this report.
Grief hung thick in the air as the team arrived at the first home in Adventure, where 20-year-old Yvonne Amwatin, a level 300 student of Accra Technical University, was being mourned. Parents, siblings, extended family, and friends were unconsolable as the delegation, dispatched by President John Dramani Mahama, entered the family home. From Adenta, the team moved to Kpong in the Kpong Katamanso municipality. The reaction was no different. Tears, heartbreak, and the agony of another promising life cut short. Next, the journey took the team to Mankasim in the central region, home of 23-year-old Priscilla Labi.
I hear that my sister, I don't know what I do again. Always SS in 3 years, minutes of a soldier. I read by our own Yakuya so no some people that major my sister.
The sorrow continued at the home of Peace Potivi, a 25-year-old pharmacist and hairdresser at Kasua.
She's the one that breaks my head for me. And then if I need something, then she sells me money or any assistance.
The fifth stop was the Nyamelon household, where 23-year-old Priscilla Esinam Nyamelo was remembered as a cherished daughter and friend. Not far from the Nyamelon residence, the team visited one of the survivors, Benedicta Frimpong. A faint smile broke through her pain when she was informed that she would no longer have to struggle to fulfill her dream of becoming a soldier. The final and most emotional visit was to the family of 25-year-old Benedicta Kali. Her home was filled with songs, prayers, and tears, moving even hardened soldiers and journalists to weep.
Because we completed the same year in senior, in secondary school and in churches. My sister's dreams in childhood was to be a soldier. Anytime she sees a soldier, she's like, I'm going to wear this uniform. Even this Sunday, she told me that I'm going to wear my uniform to your graduation.
Deputy Minister for Defense, Ernest Bojajimfi, announced government's plan to both the bereaved families and the survivors.
His Excellency the President has directed that we give the opportunity to the family to replace all these 6 dead persons. Not only that, His Excellency the President has also directed that all injured persons involved in this tragic incident be also given the automatic qualification to be recruited for the Ghana Armed Forces.
The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Namumu Lati, said all surviving victims will be supported by professional psychologists.
The ministry will take that responsibility to support them psychologically through the healing process. And so it's the first thing that we are going to do. And in this particular case, you realize without being a specialist how much it is needed. I mean, for the younger one to hang on to a photo and refuse to give it up, you know that it is not easy.
Meanwhile, the government has directed all officers responsible for the Greater Accra military screening exercise to step aside as an investigative committee begins work to determine the cause of the stampede. As the cries of the bereaved linger, security experts are urging all security agencies to learn from the tragic events of Wednesday, November 12, a day that claimed 6 young lives and left at least 18 others injured. Young men and women who only wanted to serve their country. Joseph Armstrong, Gold Alobi, TV3.
The dust has begun to settle on the August 6 helicopter crash. The government committee which investigated the crash has submitted its report along with recommendations. But in between these recommendations are critical areas of concern requiring dispassionate national conversations. My colleague Enyunam Haliga highlights some of the concerns.
August 6, 2025, 8 gallant men died on one of the Air Force's serviceable aircrafts that has been used in various assignments, including medical evacuations, cargo transport, and the aftermath, were marred by several conspiracy theories, leaving Ghanaians wondering. More than 2 months after the tragic accident, finality appears to have been brought to the matter. A committee set up by the government to investigate the crash has concluded the adverse weather conditions, particularly sudden downdrafts and intermittent turbulence, caused a rapid loss of altitude, leading to fatal crash that claimed the lives. Now, however, the committee's findings also revealed critical lapses in security protocols, which could have aided the aversion of the accident. Investigations revealed that Z9 helicopter, like other aircrafts within the country's base, do not have terrain awareness and warning system, as well as enhanced ground proximity warning system. Again, the reports revealed a lack of certified aviation weather provider for the Ghana Armed Forces. Also, system for real-time tracking of flights currently do not exist within the military's equipment database.
In our findings also, we said there's limited national navigational capacity, a capability for en route and remote area weather services. We also looked at training and realized that the Air Force doesn't have much simulator training. We looked at flight monitoring and realized that there was no flight data monitoring also taking place. For flight following and tracking of aircrafts, we realized that it was also not there. There's no secondary surveillance radar, no automatic dependent surveillance broadcasts, or any other real-time tracking of aircraft.
These details for many aviation experts still leave lingering questions unanswered.
We have been operating these Z helicopters and other helicopters in Ghana Air Force. Without these enhancements, I mean, these Z9 recently flew the president and all over the country. They've been zigzag. Much as we may need some enhancements, these enhancements would have prevented the accident. When you need an extra, you ask for it and you pay for it to be installed. The operator knows how he's going to operate this aircraft. And these planes have been flying for the last 10, 15 years without an accident. If we're talking about enhancement, they are good recent development, but they couldn't, as for Joseph, prevented the accident.
As the nation reflects on the tragedy, attention now turns to a broader issue within the aviation sector, from enforcement to accountability, as the search for clarity continues. Enyunam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
And now to some stories on illegal mining. The Western Regional National Security Liaison Officer Brigadier General Musa Weja, retired, has issued a stern warning to illegal miners operating on the Ankobra River net banks. He says joint security forces will now conduct persistent day and night patrols along to the entire stretch of the river to ultimately restore the Ankobra River to its original state. Irma Smith has more in this report.
During a recent security operation on the Ankobra River near Ampansie in the Evaluadura municipality, personnel from the Western Naval Command and National Security seized a mining cannon loaded with 4 Shamfang machines. The illegal miners had fled the scene upon their arrival, abandoning the equipment. According to the Western Regional National Security Liaison Officer Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, this incident underscores the effectiveness of consistent patrols in safeguarding the river.
As we started today, we were able to seize the big canoe. Apparently, they carried it with 4 Shamfines, and they were installing it so that they can commence their duties. And we seized them. Unfortunately for us, all the suspects ran away. Then we seized the canoe, and then we seized the 4 Shamfines, and then we destroyed about 10 makeshift structures.
He issued a stern warning to illegal miners on the Ankobra that there will be relentless day and night patrols along the entire stretch during the Christmas period. According to him, this sustained security presence is the essential measure to secure the water body and return the Ankobra to health.
We are going to make sure that this Christmas, they don't use the Ankobra to celebrate the Christmas. This is the warning that we have for all of them. What we want to say to all the Galamsey is that now they should not take anything for granted and that they have to stay away. We are going to make sure that all the makeshift stamps along the banks of the Ankobra are cleared and that there will be no makeshift stamp and that we are going to dominate the river day and night so that we make sure that from Pristia down the way where they're cleared.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Ankobra.
Meanwhile, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat NIMOS task force has carried out a bold dawn operation at a notorious illegal mining site known as Yellowface at Wasa Brescia in the Western region. The swoop sent suspected Galamsey operators fleeing into nearby bushes to avoid arrest as the task force descended on the area. Officers dismantled the site, setting ablaze makeshift structures and equipment allegedly used for illegal mining activities. During the raid, the task force uncovered alarming evidence of illicit drug use and the presence of dynamite, raising further concerns about the scale and danger of operations at the site. NIMOS has vowed to intensify targeted operations in the coming days and weeks as part of a renewed effort to disrupt illegal mining networks and combat the growing menace of illegal drugs linked to these activities.
And now, Ghana's long and complex battle against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, has taken a troubling turn following a wave of coordinated attacks on state institutions leading the fight. The incidents have sparked national outrage with renewed calls by civil society organizations urging for a stronger, more united front against the menace. A report by Stanley Niblew.
The Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, led by Professor Nanama Brown-Kluche, became the latest victim of hostility when a group of suspected illegal miners attacked a team comprising personnel of EPA and journalists during a field operation to clamp down on illegal mining in the Ashanti region. The teams of the Minerals Development Fund, under the leadership of Dr. Louisa Hanabisu, and the IGP Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force have also faced violent communal confrontations in the same region. The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, clothed with the power to lead the charge against the Galamsey fight, has not been spared.
Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Watch out, go, go, go. Watch out, watch out.
Illegal miners at Hwidiem in the Hafo region subjected the team led by Colonel Dominic Boa to mob attack, partially destroying the team's vehicle. In the process, a growing number of civil society organizations are voicing concern about the current strategy, while commendable, might need a strategic rethink. Environmental campaigner Awila Sewa of Eco-Conscious Citizens has emphasized the need for a more community-centered approach to the illegal mining fight. She called for a stronger political will to sanitize the mining regime.
Army is professional, so they need to have a strategy. NAMOS needs to have a strategy. And when you're going there, preferably you've done some recce. But obviously, if you're attacked, there's something known as self-defense. You don't go out of your way to there's no shoot and kill. But obviously, if you're attacked, there's something known as self-defense. I'm bringing this in to say that if we really are interested in fighting the environmental terrorists, we need the support of the chiefs, we need the support of the community.
Civil society actors argued that without sustainable livelihood alternatives, enforcement alone will only deepen hostilities between local communities and state institutions. For Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento, the Galamsey menace is a deliberate international sponsored attack on Ghana.
Galamsey is no longer a civil law enforcement issue. Galamsey is organized international crime involving armed insurgents.
Security analyst Richard Kumado believes that the spread of distorted narratives about the fight against Galamsey poses a national security threat and emboldens illegal miners.
We have also heard stories where people said NAMOS is not properly resourced. Where they got that information from is another thing altogether. And once you say they are not properly resourced, all what you are saying is that the guys in the forest who want to entangle NAMOS, they should go after them. Because the guys coming are not properly resourced, and you have no clue the negative implication of what we are saying.
For him, NAMOS must intensify the illegal mining fight.
They are making progress. Should they do more? Yes. Should they take caution? Yes.
Despite years of investment, political commitment, and policy interventions, illegal mining remains a challenge. The fight against Galamsey is not just an environmental campaign. It is a struggle for the survival of Ghana's future, its natural heritage, and the health of generations yet unborn. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
You're watching News 360 live here on TV3. We're going for a short break. We'll return with some more stories. Do stay with us.
Why are more and more
expedite the timely purchase of eggs from their farms as directed by the government. Here's a report by Claude Kumibisa.
Local poultry farmers in Sunyani are growing increasingly worried about the impact of a surplus of egg glut on their business. The sudden influx has created a predicament, posing a threat not only to their livelihood, but also to the local poultry markets.
Imagine producing egg and then people not coming to buy. And then the shelf life of egg is so short that you cannot keep the eggs down for a long time. For 2 weeks now, nobody has come to pick my egg. So the situation is getting, serious and serious. So should it be that in 4 weeks, in 5 weeks time, nobody comes to pick my egg, then you can imagine the situation that we are in. So that is how serious the thing is. I've just got a colleague up here. If you go to his farm, he's got about 24,000 crates of eggs that is lying. So that is how serious it is. Now we are in debt because we need to go buy the feed inputs. Sometimes we go in for credit to buy the feed inputs, come and use it to feed our birds, so that when we get the proceeds from the eggs, then we go and pay our debt.
The secretary of the Sunyani Poultry Farmers Association told TV3 that government has given directive to the Ministry of Agriculture to collect eggs from their farms, especially in light of the current economic challenges they are facing. He argues that without immediate action, the viability of their businesses and by extension, the local economy could be severely compromised. Odum Maufo is imploring officials to facilitate the lifting of eggs from their farms in a timely manner to help stabilize the market.
I would use this opportunity to thank the Minister of Agriculture for listening to us, because over the weekend we called on him and then he gave us assurance that the President has directed the Minister of Agri to come and lift all the eggs that we are complaining about. So we are thankful to him that he has listened to us. But one thing that we are also pleading is he has to fast track the process so that the eggs can be picked and then the farmers will be at ease.
With many farmers struggling to find a market for their eggs, there is a growing call for the establishment of a processing plant in the Bono region. The secretary of the Sunyani Poultry Farmers Association advocates that a local processing facility would enhance the consumption of poultry meat and eggs, creating a more resilient agricultural economy.
Let me emphatically state here that if it hadn't been the Ivorians, poultry industry here wouldn't survive. I'm stating this because all our spent layers are being bought by the Ivorians. I would say 99% of them are being bought by the Ivorians. Now, without the Ivorians, we cannot sell our birds. We have a lot of importers in Ghana here, people that import chunks of frozen chicken into the country. I would suggest that if they can put their heads together and build one processing plant that all the farmers here can feed into, then stop or even cut the importation of the frozen chicken, the money that they are giving to the foreigners will create jobs for the people in Ghana. There will be more jobs for the youth, and there will be more jobs and there will be more revenue in the country.
Claude Kumi Ebisa, TV3 News, Sunyani.
And our government has formally invited the Ghana Medical Association to partner in completing and managing strategically located but uncompleted health facilities. The offer, made by the Health Minister Kwabena Mintah-Kando, is part of a new private health sector development policy designed to boost coordination and investment in public-private health initiatives. GMA President Dr. Frank Sribo, whilst welcoming, says it, however, bemoaning some challenges with the implementation of the service conditions for some of its members.
Speaking at the Ghana Medical Association's 67th Annual General Conference at Cape Coast, Health Minister Kwabena Mintah-Kando underscored the critical role of the private sector in achieving sustainable health care. He disclosed that nearly 1 in 5 of Ghana's 13,700 doctors and dentists work privately, adding that no single actor can achieve sustainable health outcomes alone. To formalize this collaboration, the government is finalizing a new private health sector development policy and will offer uncompleted public health facilities for development through public-private partnerships arrangement.
We recognize The partnership with credible professional bodies and investors and can accelerate progress, enhance equity, and ensure long-term sustainability. Accordingly, I wish to extend an invitation to the Ghana Medical Association to explore the possibility of taking up some of these facilities, particularly those in strategic locations under PPP arrangements.
To pursue universal health coverage, the minister announced that government is now deliberately deploying doctors directly to underserved regions. This is to address the stark geographic disparity of 64% of doctors concentrated in the Greater Accra and Ashanti regions. President of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Sribo, urged for a shift from viewing the private sector as a rival, but as a partner in progress, describing the public-private partnerships as a bridge that connects ambition with action and vision with viability. He, however, stated some key challenges of the association that need urgent attention.
First among these concerns is the vehicle importation tax waiver, a hard-won provision that recognizes the sacrifice of doctors across the country. Today, that waiver stands suspended without, in our estimation, proper justification. Secondly, the government this year has not adjusted the non-basic component of our condition of service. This failure, colleagues and minister, is not a technical oversight.
Erama Smith, TV3 News, Cape Coast.
And now, 3 senior high schools in the northern region have received monetary support from Prayer and Fasting, the Foundation to Success Ghana, a non-profit organization in the northern region. Viting Senior High School, Islamic Senior High School, and Ambaria Senior High School each received 10,000 cedis to enhance teaching and learning.
The donation by the Prayer and Fasting Foundation is intended to support the beneficiary schools to enhance teaching and learning. Addressing staff and students of the beneficiary schools, Executive Director of Prayer and Fasting Foundation, Wayamba Malgu Na Mohammed Abdul Malik, expressed his readiness to use his influence to champion the cause of development in the North.
I heard about your academics and how you all placed the top 2 or 3 in the region or so. And I could not just leave and go to Accra. I have to go and meet the chief imam and inshallah the president. But I wanted to come here and show a token of appreciation for all of you who showed up at the Multi and made it such a success.
Management of the schools expressed appreciation to Wayamba Malguna and Prayers and Fasting Foundation for the kind gesture and called for more support.
I want to express our joy and delight to have you. This donation you are giving to the school, we want to assure you it will go a long way to help improve some challenges we have in the school. I want to assure you that it shall be put to good use, and we'll report back to you how it has impacted teaching and learning in the school.
Each of the 3 schools received 10,000 cedis to invest in the development of students as a foundation's way of giving back to society. The 3 schools have also been adopted by the foundation for future support.
This is News 360. Let's now bring you some sports news.
sports segment is brought to you by
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off with match day 10 of the Ghana Premier League. Accra Hearts of Oak dropped points in a goalless draw against Suedru All Blacks this afternoon. The Phobians were hoping for victory following their 1-0 loss to Kumasi Asante Kotoko last weekend. However, it was not meant to be, leaving them in 4th place. Accra Hearts of Oak barely managed 5 shots, with only 1 on target. On the other hand, Suedru All Blacks, who now sit 14th on the table, had most of the possession but did not record a single shot on target. Proceeding now to the aftermath of the Black Stars' 2-0 defeat to Japan in yesterday's international friendly. Former Black Stars forward Augustine Ahinfo attributed the defeat to the absence of key players. He has urged management to field prominent players in future games.
We should have spoken to our good players, because if the likes of the Thomas Partey's and the Kudus and Jordan Ayus were in this team, I don't think would have lost this game. So let's look at these matches as our AFCON, like I've stated earlier, and then try to, in the future, put some prominence to these matches. We can't just present any other team because some of our so-called elite players, or as it were, the core team, is not available, because we are not in the AFCON.
Let's move on to Sports Journalism Awards. President of the International Sports Press Association, Gianni Mello, has emphasized Ghana's dominance not only in Africa, but in the world. Here's what he had to say earlier this morning on Warmer Plus.
In Ghana, in the statistic of participation to our award is at the top, in Africa for sure. And also in the world is very well on the top. And I think that this is the tradition, because, you know, in the world it's not so easy to win, because this year we have received 1,987 submissions in the 9th category. Yeah. You can imagine. Yeah. The concurrence is big, and after our judgment is very clear, because all the judges in the different point of the judgment, they have to sign all their votes. So they're not a situation in which somebody is my friend and I vote for him. No, because you can control all the votes because are signed. Mm-hmm. And this is the most important thing, because it's a very serious award, and I think that is a show the importance of sport journalism in the world, because if 1,000, near 2,000 people.
Heading over to sports development, Nestle Ghana has reintroduced the Milo Under-13 Champions League. This initiative has previously produced talents for the Black Stars, including Fatawi Sahaku and Midiama's Kelvin Nkrumah. The event is now set to return in December after a 6-year absence.
I'm very, very happy. Well, I'm also Portuguese, so I guess football means a lot to me. But look, for Nestle and for the Milo brand, this is really ingrained in what we represent and what the brand stands for and what Nestle stands for. Unfortunately, for some years, we had to pause it, but we are truly, truly happy that we are bringing it back, and that, God willing, we will continue with it. It stands up for so much. Beyond sports, it stands up for promoting opportunities for these children to be seen. It stands up for teamwork, for discipline, and for grit, which are things that you will need in life throughout, regardless of you winning or losing in the pitch that day.
That will be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyled and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
After weeks of evaluation, the organizers of the Regal Film Festival and Awards have announced the official nomination list for the 2025 edition. Leading the Best Animation Film category are standout productions such as Guardians, The Chosen Ones from Ghana, and Uganda's United to Save the Environment.
Do I get a wish? No. You just talk. I'm sorry. Is that not like cool enough for you?
He would like to apply for a loan.
Designed as a platform for creative exchange and the celebration of cinematic excellence across Africa and the diaspora, the Regal Film Festival and Awards has released the nomination list for its maiden edition in Accra, with over 121 film entries from 21 countries across Africa and beyond.
Pourquoi l'enlèvement d'un pasteur? Pour prier pour leurs péchés.
United to Save the Environment. Uganda. The Guardians, The Chosen Ones. Ghana.
According to the organizers, the submissions showcase a diverse range of storytelling, culture and creativity, further confirming the steady rise of Africa's film industry and its expanding global influence. Speaking to 3 Entertainment at the event, the Chief Executive Officer of the Creative Arts Agency, Gideon Aikwe, commended the organizers for recognizing and honoring the creative efforts of filmmakers across the continent.
This is very refined. I mean, for the first time, I'm seeing an awards ceremony that's not relying partially or solely on votes, but on merit. And I give credit to the organizers for this one. I'm also impressed with the caliber of people together in the academy. I know that this will travel places. Multi-countries coming together to partake in this. I have no doubt that this will be bigger and bigger, with time.
The festival will also feature industry masterclasses, panel discussions, and networking sessions aimed at bridging creativity, technology, and financing within Africa's film ecosystem. All nominated films will compete for honors at the awards night scheduled for 13th December 2025 in Accra.
Let's now bring you some international news.
The Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 armed group signed a framework agreement in Doha on Saturday, setting out a structure for negotiations aimed at ending fighting in the country's troubled east. The Doha framework comes after months of intense fighting in the North and South Kivu provinces, which escalated early this year with the M23 group capturing the regional capital, Goma, and seizing swaths of mineral-rich territory. Delegations from both sides said the document creates 8 protocols that will be negotiated individually in the coming weeks. According to M23's head negotiator, Benjamin Imbonimpa, the protocols address the root causes of the conflict and must each be completed before a final peace deal can be signed. M23, which operates in eastern Congo with backing from neighboring Rwanda, is one of more than 100 armed groups active in the region. Fighting has displaced about 7 million people, and the United Nations continues to describe the humanitarian situation as among the most severe worldwide. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order allowing a range of food products, including coffee, bananas, and beef, to escape his sweeping tariffs. The move comes as his administration faces mounting pressure over rising prices. While Trump previously downplayed concern about the cost of living, he has focused on the issue since his Republican Party's poor performance in last week's election. The dozens of products included in the White House list of exemptions range from avocados and tomatoes to coconuts and mangoes. These goods, the Trump administration said on Friday, cannot be produced in sufficient quantities domestically.
And thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. But there's more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby-Allen.
And I am Aisha Yakubu Halid. Just as tonight with National Call is up next.